Hi James, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you, Chris. Very good.
Right, everyone. So I'm here with James Dowdeswell. James is a comedian. He's a beer brewer. He's an actor. So I thought I'd give you a bit of an insight into what's going on in James's world, from comedy gigs all the way to brewing his lazy IPA beer. James, what's been going on? Tell me what's new in the world of James Dowdeswell.
Well, I am on batch three of Lazy IPA. This one's got slightly more Olicana in it. For those of you who don't know, Lazy IPA is a beer I produce. It's a contract brew. It was brewed by Broccoli Brewery. It's 4.8% alcohol and it's an English IPA.
So yeah, this is your third version of this. How has the recipe changed over time, or has it not? Have you stuck with the same
I was
thing?
pleased with the first recipe, which was brewed by Brooke at Brolly Brewing in Surrey, and for the second recipe, decided to just dial down the bitterness very slightly, the IBU, and also add a little bit of Olicana, and which is a hop I particularly liked. And then on batch three, everything was the same apart from more Olicana. In fact, I personally poured the Olicana in. I went, "You sure? Oh no, I'm tipping the whole bag in." So when it came out orange, and it is orange, that's my fault.
Well, I'm sure it tastes as good as it looks, hopefully. Um, so,
Yeah.
so basically, over the last couple of years, you've been sort of working on your Beers of a Clown tour. You've got obviously a very close knit background with brewing and pubs. And you've also written a book as well. What can you tell us about your amazing tour at the moment?
Well, I did.
Come in and shop.
Yeah, sorry, there's a cat there,
All right.
Monty, named after Uncle Monty from Withnail and I. The both are kind of a similar approach, really. With my beer, I did 450 cans to start with to see if it worked. Because why 450? Well, that's how many I thought I could personally drink if it was a write-off. So I did 450 twice, and then the third batch rather, was 980. And with the Beers of a Clown show, I did a tour last year of 12 dates just to see, dip my toe in to see if it works. And it did. And I'm going to hopefully do a large tour this year.
Well, I think your cat's impressed with that. I'm surprised you say not now, Monty. I'm awfully tired
Exactly.
as he wanders in.
So, for example, I've done Brew York twice, and I'm coming back in to do my third show with Brew York. I'm returning to Moore Brewery in Bristol, also returning to Western Brewery in Surrey, and returning to the Fallen Tree Micro Pub in Clevedon in September, and also returning to Brolly Brewing. So it's quite nice that the ones I have done, I'm coming back to, plus adding some more breweries as well. We're in touch with a few exciting ones, and for example. Uh, Tap Social in Oxford, who run a brewery. I've got a tap room and a bakery, and they employ ex prison offenders to give them chance to work when they come out.
Oh wow,
So
very
that will
nice.
be an interesting one to do. Also, I did an exciting one, Morehouse's Brewery in Burnley in September, and I did that with a mental health group called Powered by Mates, which sounds like a condom enthusiast group, but it's a mental health group, and they meet up and go to football, rugby, breweries, and so the first half I did my stand-up, and the second half I interviewed the head of the charity, and we're hopefully going to do more with them as well. So that'll be good fun. So it's kind of a comedy tour with a little bit of mental health and talking about community as well. So, off the back of community, I've actually just landed my first TEDx talk in Tamworth, and that the subject is community. So, of course, I'm going to be talking about the merits of beer, championing beer in the community. So, my talk is called Drinking Beer Saves Lives. at
And
the
obviously,
moment.
with that, will you be talking about how pubs are obviously a really integral part of the community and how over the years they've been
Yeah,
closed down, and that's something that you're completely opposed to, and it's something that the government should do a lot more to protect?
exactly. That's exactly it. In fact, I wrote a book about called The Pub Manifesto, a comedian stands up for pubs, and it was all about that. It was all about pubs are closing down. I think post-pandemic, everybody was sort of excited to get back in the pub, and now already, obviously, with the cost of living crisis, people are, going to the pub now is maybe more of a special treat than just popping down the boozer like we used to. But everything is more expensive now, so you still got to support your local pub where possible. Um, so I
And
suppose
where
that's choosing which pub to go to, or choosing to have a business meeting in a pub. You don't necessarily need to drink a beer.
And that's the other thing, because obviously all these supermarkets are buying in lots of craft beer. So rather than going to your local bottle shop or something like that, you can go to Tesco, which is, in itself is pretty good. But, those prices are so much cheaper when they're on like a four for the price of three, and they're only sort of like £3.20 a can. Whereas, if you go to a brewery or somewhere or even a pub, you're looking at £5, £6 a pint minimum, aren't you?
Yeah, it's very tricky. I mean, my beer, for example, speaking from experience, mine used to be batches one and two were 3.95 a can, but the costs it would doubled the cost to make batch three was twice the amount. That was in a space of a year and a half, so I had to put out 50p a can. Otherwise, it's just not doable.
And I think,
So
it
you
doesn't seem
try and
like a
keep it.
lot, really, does it? I mean, 50p on a can, it's not a massive increase. I mean, if you're looking at like 50p on a bottle of Coke, people might not necessarily notice that and
Yeah,
appreciate that that's being mass produced. But there's lots of blood, sweat, and tears going into sort of making local beers.
yeah.
People, they obviously appreciate their local brewery and want to put back on it.
Yeah, I mean, I used the best ingredients I could do with this beer. Um, Even the brewer said, you could do this cheaper. You could use this hop instead of that hop, or this hop instead of, or this malt instead of that malt. But fundamentally, I'm in it because I'm a comedian who likes beer. I'm not trying to make a fortune selling beer. I'm a comedian. It's a bit of merch, it's a bit of fun, and I wanted that to be a bit of fun that I'm really proud of. So all the beer I sell, I sell it knowing that I drink it myself. I didn't want a watered down version. We all know how Beavertown Neckle tastes different now to maybe it tastes 5, 6 years ago. The same with Punk IPA. It doesn't taste the same as it does years ago. Things change. I understand why. I understand why these recipes change. I'm pretty sure Camden Hells tastes a little bit different, but that might just be me.
No, it does. I think
I
you're
don't know
right.
if you've noticed that kind of thing.
Definitely. When they moved production out of Kentish Town West and they moved over to Enfield, and I
Oh,
think
yeah, yeah,
the quality previously was amazing. We used to go to Camden all the time. Used to enjoy the various styles. They did Gentleman's Wit, they did Camden Hells, they did Flu Faker,
yeah, yeah,
one of my favorite beers that they produced. But when you turn it into mass production, you do lose some of that quality. And they did a strawberry beer a couple of years ago, and the first time we had that, it was so tasty. You could tell that they put some great fresh fruit in that, and then they moved production. Quality
yeah,
dropped, and it sort of sadly puts a sour taste in your mouth rather than what you wanted. Plus, the costs go up. And what's
yeah,
worse is that they went in with Arsenal Football Club. You can look at their bottles; they're all sort of specially branded for a couple of those, which definitely puts a sour taste in everyone's mouth. So and as you're an Aston Villa
yeah,
fan,
yeah,
you can understand just
yeah.
the reluctance to buy it.
Yes, being an Aston Villa fan, and of course we had Purity was our beer, and then it's now been taken over by Carlsberg. So, which mixed feelings because obviously they've got rid of a lot of their cask ale arm. So, but it was my initial ambition. I never get to play for Aston Villa was be the beer provider, but now with Carlsberg, I think if I could just get a couple of cans on sale at and a stall in the car park, I'd be more than happy.
Well, speaking of selling your beer, can people buy your lazy IPA at your gigs? I mean, I appreciate that, you don't have a license to sell, but the venues do. So you could probably smuggle 24 cans in with you just to use
Yeah,
their premises. Where can people buy your beer?
yeah, I did at my gigs where they have, for example, they've got pop-up bars. For example, I'm doing one in Surrey, in Dormansland near Lingfield Racecourse. That's a village hall, so I shall sell them after the gig there, for example. Obviously, I wouldn't be at the back of a pub, but I'm also doing Caterham Village Hall, and so any village halls or anything that's off license, as it were, I can sell a few beers.
And can
But
they also
other than
get your
that, I'm lazyipa.co.uk.
perfect? And can they also get your pub manifesto book? Have you got any of those copies lying
Yeah, I've
around?
still got a few pub manifestos. It was published by Camera, and I actually bought the rest of the stock when it went down into COVID. So I've still got a few left knocking about. So I'll take them out on tour with me. I was quite I tried to write a book that I wanted to read, and that included the typeface. You know, when you read a book and it's quite close typeface, I wanted it to be easy on the eye. Um,
Even
so
if it
uh,
is a lazy eye itself.
yeah, yeah, easy on the lazy eye. Yeah, exactly.
So,
I
speaking of
love
easy
that.
on the lazy eye, I just want to quickly talk to you about the way that you went about designing your can art for Lazy IPA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of can art, and I think it plays a huge part. I personally think if the can is well designed, then the chances are they've also taken a bit of time over the beer itself. I'm not saying that if there's a bad can design that the beer will be bad. I'm just saying that the chances are, if it's a good design, it might be good within it. For example, Lost and Grounded. I love the can design that they produce, the brewery from Bristol. And the first one I bought was in a bottle shop, and I saw the rolling hills on the can with the sky and the flying duck. Is it duck or elephant?
Yeah,
And it was Keller Pils, and it's still one of my favourite beers today. But it was the can that drew me in, and then I saw Keller Pils. That's interesting, and so I wanted to design something a bit of fun. So this is the first design. So on a tiny bit of paper, I did the glasses, did my eyes and my nose, and it says number one, and it says better glasses. And then this was designed too. I felt the eye needed a bit more lazy, and then I did it, and then I handed it over to a designer called Erin Carlin, and he designed this. So he made my eyes sort of pop out of the can, as it were. I initially said that I wanted yellow and black, black on yellow, because I think that stands out in the supermarket. But he took a decision to try it with orange, and I think that works really well. Sorry, just put it there. So those are my actual eyes. So there we
almost
go.
like it's superimposed on your own face.
Exactly. Um, got the glasses, got the Beers of the Clown show there, and the ingredients and everything on the back.
And that's
And
exactly
the
what you
best
need.
before.
Yeah, it's exactly what you need on a can. Because I mean, was there a process where you said, what you definitely don't want to have on the can? Because again, you need to list ingredients and other elements. I know some sort of breweries only sort of list bare minimum. They don't want to sort of let everyone know
Yeah,
sort of secrets. But did you sort of still settle upon that in that sort of
yeah,
same way?
yeah. I wanted to say exactly what was in it because a lot of beers don't say the hops.
Mm.
I wanted to know exactly what was in it. Let them know it's vegan, for example. Let them know exactly what they're drinking because it's a sort of beer for nerds, and nerds like to know exactly what they're drinking. In fact, one guy said on the first batch, you need to put the IBU on the side, but that might be a step too far.
And how did you sort of settle upon it being 4.8% ABV? Did you want it to go higher, lower, as Bruce Forsyth might say?
Well, this is quite funny, actually. I don't know if you know this, but you're allowed to go within sort of a tiny point. within point 0.5 up to point 0.5. And so, actual fact, this one, the latest batch, is technically 4.9.
Oh, okay.
But somebody said to me, a brewer said to me that 4.8 is the sweet spot. So it's actually 4.9, but 4.8 is, if you say a beer's 5%, they go, oh, I don't know, I'm driving. Whereas if it's 4.8, yeah, I'll get in the car. So it's the sweet spot, 4.8. And sometimes, below is quite weak. I think 4.8 just hits the mark.
And do you think you're going to do a low ABV one just for people that definitely don't want to drink and drive?
Yeah, I
Anyone
would
could.
like to do that next. In fact, I contemplated doing one called Cheers Drive actually years ago. Um, I would like to do. I'm not sure whether to do an alcohol-free one or to do a sort of just lower ABV one, maybe a 3.4,
Hmm.
for example, to tackle Carlsberg. Um, so I think 3.4 is a nice strength.
Yeah, nice and sessionable, easy to drink, no headaches.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. So yeah, no headaches. Yeah.
perhaps I'll
So
put you on the
that's what
program
I'm
then.
that's what I'm thinking.
That's great. Well, thanks, James. I really appreciate you speaking to me today. What's coming up next? What's the next gig that you'll be doing in the next couple of months?
Well, the most exciting thing, I'm recording my talk at TEDx Tamworth on March the 26th. And I'll also be popping in the Tamworth Tap the night beforehand for a pint, and maybe the night after. So I'll be up there for a couple of days. Other than that, I think on the tour, I think the first one is Moore Brewery in Bristol on the 29th of May.
Brilliant. Well, make sure that everyone knows where to book tickets, and hopefully they'll get to see you at the TED Talk and at More Brewery as well.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Well, have a great night. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.